Welcome back to Block TV. Time for Cryptonomics and Libra. The Libra Association has broken a period of relative silence, coming out with a press release today saying that they are actively pursuing a license with Swiss financial regulators. Block TV senior analyst Asher Westrup-Evans joins me with this news and more about it. Yes, what does this mean?
Okay, so as you said, they were going after this Swiss Financial Markets Supervisory Authority, FINMA. They're coming out with them and pursuing a license with them as a payment system. This is an interesting definition. We'll get into a moment what it means specifically as a payment system as opposed to other potential service providers. They state in this press release, they're still scanned on more details than that, just saying they're pursuing this license, but they use this press release and I suppose this particular focus of media attention to come out and say that they're using the choice of Switzerland, and I quote from the release itself, as a home for the newly established Libra Association, which will, when fully developed, will have a diverse group of member organizations, etc., and they say the reason they're using Switzerland is to harness Switzerland's role as a nucleus of international organizations. They're based in Switzerland. They're based in Geneva specifically. They're aiming to be set up as a non-profit based in Switzerland. You can see the line that they're sort of heading towards. There's a narrative that's being built here.
That's been built since day one,
exactly.
Since the announcement, right?
Exactly right. And so we've already had a response come back from FINMA themselves, the Swiss financial regulators.
Saying what? Because I just, before you continue, back in the day, the Swiss were kind of puzzled as to their role. What
exactly right,
now?
They were.
Yes.
And we'll touch on that in a moment. But the Swiss have come back saying that they will need a license as a payment system to be sure, but that's a bare minimum, stating that they would likely have to submit even greater supervision, potentially even being represented as a collective investment scheme, a fund, or even get a license as a full-blown bank. So that would be a huge regulatory hurdle to go over, and they've stated...
And this is when Facebook has gone out from day one saying, we are not a bank, we will not be a bank.
Exactly.
This is not a bank.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to be regulated as a bank, they might say that as much as they want, but if the regulators disagree, that's going to be problematic. FINMA also has made allusions to the fact that this cannot be something solely done domestically, that they want to have international cooperation, highlighted, of course, when those US lawmakers in a team headed by Maxine Waters were in Switzerland just last month. So that would certainly have an impact. I think that's made Swiss regulators nervous about just barreling ahead with something that has such implications across the global financial system, something that they're certainly concerned
entirely
about.
And this is something that, Libra and, case in point also David Marcus were facing from day one. Makes one wonder, if they were ready for this from the start. What was the line to begin with?
Well, so that's an interesting point. So if we turn back to those congressional hearings in mid-July that were, such media grabbers, and we covered extensively at Block TV, we could hear what David Marcus's line was then in answering questions to Congress. Let's take a listen.
If you're seeking to be a competitor to Alipay and to WeChat, why are you doing this in Switzerland? And why are you using a basket of currencies? Why not the good old American dollar? And to bring down the transaction costs, which is seemingly the ultimate goal here.
Congressman, first, I want to say that the choice of Switzerland has nothing to do about evading responsibilities or oversight. The goal of Switzerland is to home this Libra Association in an international place that is the home of WTO.
Okay, skip beyond that.
And so that's really why. The second thing is, for the same reason, we would like for Libra to be a digital global currency, and as a result to be one unit of digital currency for the whole world. And this is why we believe it was the right approach.
Thank you.
That's David Marcus fending off very well, but with not much substance, many said afterwards. Both the Senate and Congress hearings about Switzerland's role. Just to conclude, what does this state to you, just theorizing, opinion-wise, about Libra's road through the regulation barrier?
Look, I think they're trying to barrel ahead. I think they're trying to move ahead with plans they had even back in July and try and do it with an air of legitimacy and authority and try and set the narrative themselves. That being said, I think given the extensive pushback globally, because we also remember there's an potential antitrust probe going on in the EU at the moment. We've had US lawmakers take a trip to Switzerland to see what's going on there, and they didn't come back, any of them seemingly convinced and placated that all was well. There are a lot of concerns coming out about Libra. That being said, the ground is shifting around them, whether we talk about the launch of the Telegram Open Network in October, whether we talk about the Venus project from Binance, the landscape is shifting, and maybe if they're just able to stand still for long enough, the ground will shift enough that it'll become acceptable.
Look, on the one side, moving along, or trying to move along with the Swiss. On the other side, also in the last 24 hours, I believe, or this week, they announced they're adding into the basket of that presumed Libra the Singaporean dollar. So they're moving ahead. They're trying. They're trying. They are trying. Ashwar Evans, thank you for this update on Libra and where they stand. We were Block TV Cryptonomics. We'll be right back.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter